Gospel of Luke, chapter 15. I want to welcome you to a moment of reflection and inspiration drawn from one of the most remarkable chapters in the New Testament, the Gospel of Luke, chapter 15. Now, imagine this. You're at a crossroads, feeling like you've strayed far from where you hope to be in life. Perhaps you've faced mistakes, setbacks, or moments of doubt, wondering if you'll ever find your way back or be worthy of a second chance. Today we'll delve into 3 stories Jesus told, stories that reach across the ages to remind us of the power of truth. We are always worth the search, always worth forgiveness, and always worth love. Now, whether you've been hurt, lost, or in need of direction, these stories reveal the heart of a loving God who never gives up on us, who always values every single soul. So let's discover how the parable of the lost sheep, the lost coin, and the prodigal son can transform our understanding of grace, mercy, and redemption. The parable of the lost sheep, the pursuit of the individual. So, Jesus begins this chapter with the story of a shepherd who had 100 sheep. One day, as he gathers them, he realizes that one is missing. Without hesitation, he leaves the 99 sheep in the open field and goes in search of the one that is lost. He searches through valleys, climbs hills, and faces every obstacle until he finds that one sheep. And when he does, he lifts it up onto his shoulders with joy and carries it home. He then calls his friends and neighbors to celebrate, saying, "Rejoice with me, I have found my lost sheep." Now, this story is about the relentless pursuit of love. The shepherd's dedication shows that even when we feel like one among many, just another face in the crowd, God sees us individually. He doesn't give up on us when we stray. The message is clear. You are never just a number to God. You are His beloved, and He will seek you until He finds you. Now, this parable is also a reminder that your worth is not diminished by our wandering. Instead, our worth is proven by God's determination to bring us back. The parable of the lost coin, the value of every soul. Next, Jesus tells the story of a woman who has 10 silver coins and loses one. In her time, each coin would have been a day's wages, or perhaps even more, representing something incredibly valuable. She lights a lamp, sweeps her entire house, and searches carefully until she finds the coin. When she finally discovers it, she too calls her friends and neighbors and says, "Rejoice with me, I have found my lost coin." Now, this parable goes deeper into the idea of value. It teaches us that no matter how lost we feel, hidden in the darkness of our past mistakes, insecurities, or failures, we are still of immense value. God doesn't see us as a tarnished or broken. He sees our potential, our worth, and the beauty within us. Just as the woman searched every corner of her home to find the lost coin, God shines His light into the dark places of our hearts, sweeping away the dust of our doubts and fears to reveal the treasure that we truly are. Even when we are overlooked by the world, we are never overlooked by God. The parable of the prodigal son, the power of grace and forgiveness. So, the third story is the parable of the prodigal son, a story that touches on the deepest corners of humanity. A young man asks his father for his share of the inheritance, and then he leaves home to live a life of indulgence and recklessness. He squanders everything he has in wild living and soon finds himself penniless, starving, and working in a pigsty just to survive. In that moment of despair, he decides to return to his father, not as a son, but as a servant, believing that he no longer deserves to be called a son. But here's the twist. As he makes his way home, rehearsing his apology, his father sees him from a distance. Without a moment's hesitation, the father runs to his son, embraces him, and kisses him. He orders his servants to bring the best robe, put a ring on his finger, sandals on his feet, and prepare a grand feast to celebrate his return. The father's joy is overwhelming, he says. The son of mine was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found. This is the ultimate story of grace. It teaches us that no matter how far we fall, how many wrong choices we make, or how undeserving we feel, we are never beyond the reach of God's love and forgiveness. The father in this parable didn't even let his son finish his apology before welcoming him back with open arms. This is how God sees us, not as failures or disappointments, but as beloved children worthy of a second chance, worthy of redemption, and worthy of love that knows no bounds. Even the older brother, who struggles with feelings of resentment and jealousy, learns a lesson. The father gently reminds him that his loyalty and faithfulness have not gone unnoticed, and that the love and blessings available to him have always been there. God's grace is abundant, overflowing, and infinite. It's not about who deserves it more, but about the joy of welcoming every soul home. So, as we close, let's reflect on these three parables that make up the Gospel of Luke, chapter 15. The lost sheep reminds us that we are worth searching for, no matter how far we've wandered. The lost coin shows us that our value never decreases, even when we feel forgotten or hidden in darkness. And the prodigal son reveals the boundless grace and forgiveness that awaits us the moment we return back toward love. Now, these stories are more than just ancient tales. They are messages of hope for us every day. They invite us to see ourselves through the eyes of God, who never stops loving us, never stops pursuing us, and never stops believing in our worth. They call us to live lives marked by forgiveness towards ourselves and others, to rejoice in the return of every lost soul, and to remember that every journey home begins with a single step. So, as you leave here today, let this question stay with you. Where do you need to experience God's love the most in your life right now? And how can you extend that same grace to someone else who needs to know they're worth the search, worth the forgiveness, and worth the celebration? Let these stories stir something in your heart that reminds you again and again that you are loved beyond measure and always welcome in the embrace of God's endless grace. I want to thank you for joining me today. May you carry these lessons with you and let them inspire you to live with compassion, forgiveness, and a heart that always seeks to find the lost and welcome them home. Thanks, friends. I hope you have a beautiful day. I'll be back tomorrow with the Gospel of Luke, chapter 16. Take care. Talk to you then.